Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our postponed project recipe class. We're doing Polar Lights project recipe tonight. And this is the layout here. And I just want to discuss a little bit about picking papers. Your two base papers, the papers that they used are different background papers. You can also use your album pages if you like. But it is nice to have a little bit of pattern, I think, in the back. It helps all the elements sort of pop off the page. And whatever border that you use, your border punch that you use, we can maneuver it a little bit. The bear here are really adorable, and they are about 1 inch wide. But in our cutting guide, you can see that we have extra here left over. So if you use a punch that's wider, you're going to end up being okay because we have the bare white cardstock to punch a little bit bigger. I'm going to be using the Dine punch, which is 1.5 inches wide. So that will be fine. We'll still have plenty of room for that. Your designer paper 1 is this paper that's going to be going across the middle here, and this side here, and behind this photo box here. And then designer paper 2 is going to sort of be spread out around the whole layout, and it's the triangles. So I think it was easier to do this one that I chose because it did not have a direction. So that was a little bit easier. So let's point that out there. Then just show you real quick. I did it on this as well. I did this little layout with the Real Good Times. That was that special that came out over the summer. That was really fun. And you can see here's designer paper 1 are these red pieces here, and behind this photo. And then this piece of paper, I ended up using this side, and then the green side was the other one spread across the layout. It helps you choose your papers. So I am going to be using seasonal sightings for my spread. These are some papers from seasonal sightings. I just love this paper. I love both sides, but I really been wanting to use this side. So I'm gonna use that as my base, but we're just gonna start with designer paper number 1. And it's really easy because there's just a couple of cuts there. So we're just gonna cut the first one. They're just 2 4-inch strips. So we're gonna start at 8, over here at 8 inches, and we're gonna cut 4 inches here. So it's really just 3 4-inch pieces. Two of them are going to stay full. One of them we're just going to turn and cut in half. It's 6. How easy is that? That was super easy. All right, so we have 4 by 12, 4 by 12, and 2 4x6s, but one of them is going to be left over. We might, actually, I think I might use that as a journaling square. So that was designer paper 1. So easy, right? Okay, designer paper number 2. I'm going to be using this birch paper, and I'm going to turn it this way to cut because I want my direction of my birch going that way. So if you happen to have some kind of a direction on your paper, go ahead and turn it in this direction. So it'll make sense once we start cutting. So the first cut is 1.5 inches, right? So I'm going to slide down here and cut it in this direction over here at 1.5 inches. So don't let that confuse you, but that's our first cut is at 1.5 inches. So we're going to have that 1.5 inch strip, and then we're going to do another one. And we'll come back later and cut the rest of that. These are the pieces of paper that are going to be our little triangles. We have these 2 pieces here. Yeah, now let me think about how I did this one. I think I did the next cut. I want to say it's 6.5, and then that's going to leave us at 5.5. Is it going to work? Nope. Hang on. Don't cut anything. I think I might have to turn it. I cut those two. Nope, I have it right. Right? Wait a minute. I want to get this right, because if I got this piece of paper wrong, we're going to end up having an 8 by 5.5, and then an 8.5.
Yeah, you want to rotate the paper and cut it at 5.5. So you're left with a 6.5 piece and a 5.5 piece.
I rotate it this way. Can you pause the recording? All right, I had my mathematician, Curry, help me get this straightened out so I don't mess you guys up. So we were cutting the piece of paper like this, and we cut our 1.5 and our 1.5. So we're now going to take the paper and turn it back this way, and we're going to cut it all the way through at 6.5. Because we're going to end up cutting. So we have the 6.5, we're going to turn it now, and we're going to cut this in half at 4.5. So we're going to have 6.5 by 4.5 twice. That makes sense. We have these two, these are the top two, 4.5 by 6.5. And then the bottom piece, we're just going to trim off, I believe it's a 1/2 inch, right? Because we're at 9 and we want it, oh, we're going to trim off a whole inch. We want it to be at 8. Yeah, that's the one that goes underneath. So, okay. That's left over. All right. Oh. All right. So we have all of our strips. Now we're going to cut the little triangles for the top. Okay, so you're going to stack your paper. And now we got to cut these at 4 inches. All right, so each one of these is going to be cut at 4 inches. So I'm stacking mine and I'm going to 4 inches once. I mean, that really, we just ended up cutting 2 cuts, right? I think we end up with leftover because we're only going to use a few of these. Oh, I didn't need to cut all of it. There was a whole section I didn't need to cut all of it, but it works out. All right. When everybody has all of their little papers cut, let me know, because we're going to do. When I did this the first time, it mattered because of the paper that I used. It may matter on some people's paper, and it may not matter on others, but we're going to cut from the top left to the bottom right on these triangles. And I'm going to flip my little mat over so you hopefully can see it a little bit better. The little strip on the cutting guide here is where I'm going to line these up. Okay, so I am stacking. You don't have to if you aren't comfortable doing that, but I'm cutting 2 at a time. And so top left to bottom right. And you want to make sure that you hold it in both places so it doesn't move. I'm going to do it twice. Okay, and we have, whoop, that one didn't go all the way through, but that'll, it's close. And then we just keep doing that top left, bottom right on all your little triangles. There we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We end up using 8 of the little triangles.
Oh.
And you just go tip to tip, and you're cutting that there. And now I have to press harder because I just flipped my mat. when you first have the new cutting mat under there. Oh, I may have enough already. So let me do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more. Oh, 8. All right. I'm done. These are scrap. All right, so here's our little triangles. And oh, now we're going to do our cards. So a lot of times when I do this with you guys, I don't have any photos, but this time I actually have some photos printed. So that's why I know why I want to use the dine punch. So we're going to move on to our white cardstock. And I'm using one of these old sheets. And so you're just going to punch, let me see, the bear. Now the bear has the little black lines as well. So you're just going to line that up so that you get a whole little bear body in there. And the same thing, the dine is going to end up being cut there. So you're just going to cut 2 borders. And we don't even have to cut 2 whole ones because you're just using part of the second one. End up cutting. Might as well just punch the whole thing. Maybe I'll end up making a little embellishment or something out of it. Okay, that's all done. And then on the rest of the cardstock, we're just going to be cutting to make our photo mats. And trying to decide if my photos are going to be a different size. I think I'm going to hold off on cutting the photo mats because I think I may end up being a different size. Just in case your photos are a different size, you might as well wait. Let's wait on that. Camera a little better. Should be really high. Full sheet on there, but basically one's going to go in the middle and one is going on the edge over here. This one I'll do first because it's going to be in the middle. How's everybody doing? Got your triangles all cut?
I got my triangles cut, yes.
Good. Okay, great. Okay. So this is just going to go right in the middle. So I am lined up on my mat here and I'm lining up across the top at 8 and 4 and the bottom 4 and 8. And so that's nicely right in the middle. And then on this side, I'm just going to put this one all the way over on that side. This one just goes right up, puts right up to the edge, so I don't have to measuring. Just going the wrong way, but my photo is going to be across that. here. And these are going to be like so.
I'm sorry, that was the 4. Which piece did you put on the side?
They're all 4 inches.
Okay,
So 4 inches on the right and 4 inches in the middle.
on 2 separate backgrounds pages.
Yes, yes. And then our little border goes across the middle. On the bear, it was a little bit different because I'm just going to measure mine out and see where I like it. I think this ends up being about 1.25 inches, the punch, the size of the 9 punch here. I'm going to see how I think I might like this. So if you line up your little triangles, like, so the first one, oh, I'm off screen. So my first one is going to go across, and I'm just lining it up at that piece of paper, this piece of paper here. And the way they play out is that they go across and they kind of give the optical illusion that it's, I don't know what the shapes are, but it gives it a look like it's, I don't know, to me, it's an optical illusion. I don't know about it. But anyway, that's the way our little squares go, and it kind of frames that out nice. Oops. Oh, I froze. You guys hear me? Video's frozen.
Breaking up for me.
All right, we lost ourselves there for a minute. My internet is unstable. All right, I want to recommend to folks that you use repositionable on these triangles, and we're just going to start on the bottom one. And I'm going to start here because we have the nice edge of that 4-inch piece that we set down. And then if we try to be on screen, but line up my mat. This comes out right at 1.5 inches, the point. And then line that up with the bottom on the red. Well, mine's red. Not sure what color you guys are. But then the point is going to line up with that end of that. Make a cool shape. And then this one, we're just going to line up at the edge of the paper. And then again, line that whole end of that triangle right at the top of that corner ends. See, I don't know, it just kind of gives it an optical illusion, like I put down a piece of paper that had all this on it, right? I think I might use some foam squares on plates. Liking the way that looks there against the green. So depending on the size of your punch is where you're going to place the ones up here. I feel like I have to put my plates down first. Oh, I can't decide if I want to do foam squares because I'm not sure what will happen to all of these. I think I'm just going to put it down for now. The other fun thing to do with these punches is to do a shadow effect. And so you do one layer on the bottom and then do another one on top of it with the foam squares, and you just set it off just a little bit and it makes it bump out nicely. I'm going to line mine up right at the edge here. And so far, I'm pretty happy with the way that's coming out. Okay, so the triangles that go on the top are the ones that are pointed in the other direction. Does that make sense? Everybody's triangles worked out. Ooh, that one, the edge got cut off, so I'm going to use a different one. So mine ends up being right at that edge at 9 right there. Oops. Is everybody liking the way it's coming out? Cool.
Yep.
My top triangles seem to be smaller. It's something weird or what?
Cheryl, I'm gonna pause it while you finish up and then we can come back.
Okay. Correct cell phone. All right, as you can see, I've finished my layout here. And so when we went off the recording, I think we had just started putting together this side, and it's basically the same thing. You put your little triangles above and below your punch. And so for me here, I just trimmed off where I thought it was a good stopping point for my punch here. And then obviously the same thing, whatever, if you're using the band or whatever punch you're using, you're just going to trim off a little section for the right hand page. Put that here. Then you're going to cut your mats for your photos. What we did here was we wanted our photos to be a little bit bigger. So I cut my photos at 3.5. And then I did the mats because we had extra room on that white cardstock to cut whatever size mats you wanted. So I did my mats a little bit bigger than the instructions called for. And then I did not have 2 photos going in this direction, so I just took one. And then we did have an extra piece of this piece of paper, which I just used as a mat here because I only had the one photo. So the other mat was down here. And I think that wraps it up. And then we'll just embellish and off you go. You're all set. So thank you so much for joining. Does anyone want to share what they created on the recording?
I can share mine. I have it embellished. I used Garden Friends.
Oh, nice.
Oh, how pretty. Oh, with the vine. Oh, that looks
That
great.
looks great.
I just did my vine all the way across the bottom. I didn't cut it.
Oh, yeah, that looks good. I like that.
All
Nice.
right. All right, and now I have a different version of Garden Friends.
Okay, Pat. Oh, there you
And
go.
across the bottom, it's difficult to see, so I think I may, if I did this again, I would do the gate in a different color or something a little
Oh.
darker, the garden
Yeah.
gate. But otherwise, I like the way it came out.
That looks good.
Yeah, that's nice. Garden gate. That's a beautiful one. You know what you could do if you wanted to is punch another gate out of maybe a brownish or beige piece of paper and then put it on top of that gate, but just offset it a teeny little bit so you can see the shadow of the white behind.
Yep,
That would be really pretty. Or put the shadow underneath and then put the white on top of it. If you
that's an
wanted to
idea
try that.
too.
That'd be really pretty. That's really pretty, Pat. Nice. Thanks for sharing.
And I have mine.
Oh, where is Vivian? Ooh, Vivian did polar lights. Oh, how pretty.
And I just added a little sparkle.
A little sparkle on the bottom.
And
That's
I did
beautiful.
a different background. I wanted the trees.
I like the trees. That looks great. It came out great. Love it. Aren't the bears adorable?
I love that punch.
Yay. Awesome. Is Deanna ready or not ready? Not ready. Okay.
Okay,
All
I'll
right.
show.
Well, thanks so much for joining us
Oh,
tonight.
wait, I'll show mine.
Oh, Kari has one too. Ooh, walk in wait, what is it? Walk in the park?
Yes.
Look at, oh, that's pretty. Very
So,
nice. I didn't know you were creating. You're supposed to be sick and resting.
I was typing away, so I
She's
figured,
typing, she's creating, Cara is our superstar.
I don't know
When
about
she's
that.
sick. Thanks,
Great
everyone.
class, Cheryl.
So we wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year and happy and all those other things. So thanks so much for joining us.
Yep.
See you next year.
yeah.
Great class. Thanks, Cheryl.